EQAO MLL supports for students, primary and junior division assessments. This video will provide you with some important information about the online testing format, exemptions, accommodations, and the universal supports available for the EQAO test for multilingual language learners in grades 3 and 6. For the most recent information and administration guidelines, please visit EQAO.com. A framework for each division's assessment can be found on the EQAO website and provides a detailed description of the assessment, including how the assessment is mapped to the Ontario Language and Mathematics curricula. The mathematics and reading and writing components are broken down into sessions. There are 2 reading sessions and 2 writing sessions with specific types of questions for each. The question types and reading and writing text forms are the same for both the primary and junior assessments. The mathematics portion of the assessment uses an adaptive testing model. Each stage is made up of modules that contain questions rated by difficulty. The modules that are presented to students in Stage 2 and Stage 4 are based on their achievement in the previous stage. Step 1 and 2 students are recommended for exemption from EQAO. Step 3 students may be considered for exemption as well. It is important to note that, unlike in past years, exempted students are no longer represented in school EQAO scores and do not count as a 0. Any students who participate in Steps 1 to 4 are eligible to receive special provisions and/or accommodations. Decisions about exemptions must be made prior to the assessment for each student individually and in consultation with the student, parents or guardians, and with the appropriate teaching staff. We must get the consent of the parents or guardians before we can exempt a student from EQAO. If the parents or guardians want their child to write the assessment, the student must be allowed to write. Schools need to record all exemptions in the new e-assessment system in April. Exemptions are also noted on the student's EPP by checking the EQAO exemption box at the top of the EPP. A note to parents or caregivers must be sent home explaining any exemptions or accommodations that will be offered. This letter can be explained via an interpreter as needed. Step 1 to 3 students may be exempted from all or part of EQAO based on these criteria. Remember, exempted students do not count towards your school's EQAO scores. Step 1 to 4 students who are writing part or all of the EQAO assessment must have their accommodations recorded in the e-assessment system. School administrators should check the box that says, "This student is an English language learner in the early stages or steps of English language acquisition and requires accommodations." This is found in the student information under the Accommodations tab in the e-assessment system. These accommodations should already be recorded on the student's ESL or ELD program plan, their EPP, for students on modified programs. Or, for students who are accommodated only, it should be recorded in their student profile in S4S. Students can receive accommodations regardless of whether or not they have been receiving direct support from an MLL teacher. MLLs who have special education needs and an IEP are entitled to any accommodations listed on their IEP as well. Any accommodations used on EQAO should already be used on a regular basis for classroom assessments. Remember, all students have access to the built-in text-to-speech tool that reads all questions and passages, including those in the reading component. Using built-in accessibility tools is not considered an accommodation and does not need to be recorded in the e-assessment system. Remember, all students are learning academic English language, even if their home language is English. All students will benefit from learning the key words used on EQAO assessments. These visual dual language resources can be downloaded and used during EQAO testing if documented in the e-assessment system. You can find them at bit.ly/EQAO words. Please check the EQAO website or contact your MLL teacher or consultant for more information on supporting multilingual language learners with EQAO.